Hey friends, so today I am sharing a quick and easy recipe. I was inspired by the Pioneer Woman. I found a recipe for cauliflower gratin online and I had some similar ingredients, so I just figured I would wing it. One of the vegetables that we don't eat a whole bunch of is cauliflower, and I would like to change that because it does grow well up here in the fall, and I am planning on starting seeds for it, so I wanted to try this recipe out and see if this is something that we would enjoy, and we did. So a couple of days ago, I shared our haul from this place called Bargain Grocery, and I picked up these 2 cauliflowers. They were really good price, and they were the fun colors, and I wanted to see if they tasted any different. And they really don't, but this recipe is still delicious. And we actually ate this as our main course, our dinner, but it would make a great side dish, even a holiday side dish. So I'm gonna just share with you how I made it. And you can see here, all I'm doing is chopping it up into small pieces and putting it in a small casserole dish off to the side. I'm taking the woody stem off, the outer leaves. I'm washing it and getting it into bite-sized pieces so we can move on to the next step. Okay, so here I have about 3 tablespoons of butter that I am going to melt on the stovetop. And essentially we're making a roux, or like the beginnings of a bechamel sauce. And so I have the heat on like a medium high, and this is just about 3 tablespoons. I don't follow exact recipes. I don't really do that. I just kind of cook by taste and flavor. So I'm just sharing with you what I did. And like I said, I found inspiration from the Pioneer Woman. So if you need an exact recipe, you can go to her website. But this is the way that I did it. So once the butter's all melted, I start adding in just some all-purpose flour. And it's probably about 3 tablespoons. Again, I didn't measure it. I just kind of did it by how it looked. And I'm using a whisk to blend that up and cook out that flour flavor. You want it to be incorporated into the butter. And I'm just whisking that together. And now I'm going to slowly add in some whole milk as I'm whisking. And you do this slowly so it incorporates into the butter and the flour without creating lumps. Now, if I had thought ahead, I probably would have warmed up the milk. I find that makes it creamier, but this was fine just doing it slow. And I probably added about half a cup when all is said and done. And you just want to continue to mix and really work out any lumps that might start to happen. And continue to cook it. I think I lowered the heat to about a medium here. And I'm just using a whisk to break it up. And then to make it a little more creamy and thick, I switched from whole milk to heavy cream. And you'll see me start to add that in. So you can see I've just poured in some heavy cream. I probably poured in about another half a cup of that. Now you can totally add more or less of, if you want to make like a bigger batch of this. My baking dish was relatively small and I'm only using 2 smaller sized cauliflowers. So I didn't want it to be like completely submerged in this cheese sauce. I still wanted the cauliflower to have some integrity, I guess. So, but if you want to add more, go for it. Another thing I did here, just because I like the taste of it, I added in just a tiny bit amount of some spicy mustard. I feel like it gives it a nice little, you know, what's in that type of flavor. So that was probably only about like half a teaspoon's worth. So the main thing is you want to, you know, make sure that you're not going to burn this because now the sauce is getting thicker. So keep the heat on medium, lower it if you need to. I'm just adding a pinch of salt and some pepper here. And you don't want to add too much salt because we're going to be adding cheese next, and cheese is salty. So just a little pinch is all you need, and you can add more pepper if you want to later, which I did, you'll see. So I'm off to the side now, and I have sliced Gruyere and cheddar cheese. I don't have a block. I don't have any grated kind. All I had was like slices that you would put on a sandwich. So I'm just chopping them up into like little strips so I can add that into the sauce and it'll melt more evenly. Oh, and before I did that, I actually added in some fresh herbs. So all that is some fresh rosemary and fresh parsley, and probably like a tablespoon worth of that. So now I'm doing the cheese off to the side. I am just chopping it up so it melts into the cream evenly, and it's not gonna burn or clump up or anything like that. So I think in total I added probably about 6 or 7 slices of that Gruyere and cheddar. And again, I just kind of watched what was happening with the sauce and the thickness of it. I wanted it to still be able to be poured over, and I wanted it thick enough where it was going to coat the cauliflower, but not so thick that it was just like complete cheese, you know? If you've ever made like a fondue sauce, it's a little bit maybe thicker than that. And then I'm also adding about a 1/4 cup of grated Parmesan. So all together, I probably added in about 3/4 to a full cup of cheese. So now I am turning off the heat, and I felt like it needed a little bit of a kick, so I added in some crushed red pepper. And you can see how it's kind of just like dripping off the whisk. Now I'm just pouring it over. And honestly, like once I was doing this, I was thinking, you know, this would actually make like a really good macaroni and cheese. And then you can always have add the cauliflower in with it as well. So kind of like a cauliflower mac and cheese casserole, or even like some diced chicken would be really good in this. I feel like if you wanted to make like a true casserole, or rice, or you know, definitely you could be creative with this. So in hindsight, I probably should have used a little bit bigger of a baking dish, but this was fine. It was just, like I said, an easy dinner for the 3 of us. And so once I poured in that cheese sauce, I just kind of mixed it around a little bit, and made sure like the cauliflower was pretty nicely coated. It's gonna go in the oven, so I mean it is gonna melt a little bit more, and I figured that the cauliflower was gonna release some water once it was cooking, so it was gonna thin it out a little bit. So I'm just getting the last bit of cheese sauce out of the pan. Don't want to waste that. And just tucking it in so it doesn't bubble over. And then I go to the pantry and grab some panko breadcrumbs. And I'm using up the rest of the herbs that I chopped up that were left on the cutting board, and then I'm gonna top it with some panko and just a little bit, like a handful worth, just so it has a little bit of a crispy texture, because this is just gonna be so creamy. And I also use some butter spray before I pop it in the oven. And the oven was at 350, and I cooked it for about 20-25 minutes, just until the panko was brown and the cauliflower was soft. It's really good. Give it a try.